All right. What's up, CK?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. I have a very interesting topic today that I wanted to discuss. And it's something that happens in a lot of people's lives, a lot of people's relationships. And that is how having a lack of trust and support destroys relationships. And the reason why I kind of thought about this tonight is because, I go to DB class. And this was actually a topic that was brought up because they want you to have some sort of idea of how having a lack of trust and a lack of support can break down a relationship. And it could be any relationship, but especially that between you and the person that you're in love with. And so, as I thought about the different answers that people were giving today, I felt like this would be a great discussion to have because I know that many of us have been in relationships that have molded us in many different ways. It kind of shaped your frame of thinking about relationships in the future and also the opposite sex. And so, that being said, how do you think being in a toxic relationship has affected you? Because I know it has affected me in a way where I view men as being the enemy for a while. And this was even before coming on to YouTube. I remember getting cheated on, and I remember being told that the person was going to be there for me when I had my first child, and then he wasn't. And not only was he not there, but he cheated and disappeared. So those are things that kind of, make it kind of shaky for you as far as like being able to trust a new person. So any new man coming into my life after having a situation or an experience that bad, you have to understand that it's really difficult to trust somebody that they're
Right.
not going to do the exact same thing to you. So what do you think, CK? What are your thoughts on this?
For me, it just kind of made me not really trust the whole having male friends thing. Um, it it just seems like in the toxic relationships that I was in, it was always the male friend or the quote unquote brother or the quote unquote homeboy who was always the dude that was kind of like playing in my face. And it turns out, he was the guy that was uh, messing with her the whole time. And they both were in on it. And it made me lose trust in just having a relationship with people of the same gender as myself, friends with somebody I'm with. So I started to have, I've had trust issues and insecurities, and I have more of a mindset now, somewhat of a, you're going to get me, so I'm going to get you before you get me. And, I've had to work that out. And it's hard because you meet someone and they have these homeboys, or they get these homeboys or coworkers, and you could just be out somewhere and you just start noticing that your significant other is kind of giggling and they got these inside jokes, or you have such like a house party and you're noticing that they are kind of like off somewhere and they're kind of having this private conversation, and when you ask about it, it's like, oh well, don't worry about that, that's nothing, you're reading too much into it. So just my experience with a toxic relationship has made me kind of second guess a lot of things that may be something or may not be something. And as I've gotten older, I've developed a low tolerance for crazy and anything negative. And now I really don't want to go through the thin when it comes to a thick and thin relationship, or thick and thins of relationship, like ups and downs and whatnot.
Yeah, so your guard was all the way up.
Yeah.
And that's basically, you know, where you're at. But how about like what type of person you turn into? Because I know the type of person that I ended up turning into. I turned into this person that I didn't really like. Like, because this person lied on me, I didn't feel like I was obligated to be as open and honest and forthcoming in my, you know, future relationships. And I know that it was unfair, you know, to the person in the past, but I had built a wall because I just was protecting myself, you know, thinking that I'm not going to go through this again. You know, then, like you said, I'm going to get them before they get me. I'm not going to let, you know, this person, you know, put the wool over my eye again. So I was just kind of like this cold ice box. I was still out there dating, but like that song, I got an ice box where my heart used to be.
Right.
That was me in a nutshell. Ice cold. Ice cold. And it got to the point where, you know, the guys that would, you know, be trying to like get close to me, maybe some of them were genuine, you know, about wanting to have something, you know, meaningful, but they couldn't get beyond my wall, you know what I'm saying, to get beyond the ice cold to get to anything that was more meaningful. So, you know, I just think, I don't know, that's where a lot of this arguing and bickering online in this sector of YouTube. When I see a lot of the men coming on here, I see a lot of angry, you know, just angry, bitter, upset people. And they're not upset about anything that anyone has done, maybe in the present, or maybe they are, but most of this stuff that they're talking about is hurts from the past. Most of these guys are on here crying and all in their feelings, and you know, they're mentioning, they let a little something slip out about, these bitches think they better than us and all this other stuff, you know, and it's all that pent up anger.
Right.
And it's because of the one that got away back in high school.
You're right.
So, you know, I don't know. I see a lot of that on the men's side, but also on the women's side, I see a lot of anger. I see a lot of bitterness. And see, we as women, and I can attest to this, but we feel entitled a lot of times to our anger and our bitterness because we feel like we've been done wrong. Just like I stated earlier, I felt entitled to treat people like shit because I was hurt.
Right.
And my view and my outlook on men in general was just bad. But how many of these people going to admit that that's what it is?
Right.
I don't think there's going to be too many that's going to admit that.
No, probably not.
You know, instead, you know, we have a lot of these people that want to run online. And the first thing that they want to do is they feel entitled. And I'm not saying it's not needed, because for a long time there has been one side of the story being told, where men were just you know, hammering down at the women. But now I think we've been at this for about a decade now, back and forth between the sexes. And the lack of trust that we have for one another is like at an all-time high.
Right.
Like, he don't trust her, she don't trust him. Where exactly are we going to go with this? What do you think?
As far as in general, with the sector, yeah, I think most people are gender warring because they're trying to like beat people up mentally. And I think the goal is to take their frustration out on someone other than who hurt them in the past or who they're dealing with in the present. And, you see with when these scandals come out and people are hooking up, most of the time the hookups are just that. No one's really asking anyone out on a date. And it's a lot of the content is pumping and dumping and focusing on femininity, focusing on how much money someone makes, and the man pays all the bills, expand your options. Mm-hmm. The black man, the black woman ain't nothing in the community. So it's a lot of hate mongering, but no one talks about connecting, picking on the divestors. The divestors, you rarely hear them go through a point by point or bullet point by bullet point how to get someone to level up like Shira 7 has. When it comes to the men saying save yourself, they rarely go into how they met the woman of their dreams and perhaps got married and made her an honest woman. Different people, who talk about, how to pick up chicks. No one's talking about connecting or really being nice to people. And it's just, it just feels like high school all over again. Like people have been running a race on a treadmill as opposed to running towards a destination. And that's where all these conversations always go into sex or fighting, because people have this energy inside of them that they're not releasing in their regular lives, and they come online to not really get a catharsis, but to have escapism. So I just see more escapism happening and people just continuing to hate monger and spew venom at each other, as opposed to actually solving the problem, which is in their individual lives.
I was in class tonight, and that's the reason why I couldn't put up my other video, because I had to go to class. And in class, there's about 4 men and 3 women in the class. And one of the women, she was in there, we're all in there about our anger, about our violence issues. And she was in there already angry because she's still with her current man that she had the domestic violence situation with. And they had just argued. And so she came to class mad. And so she's saying that in their relationship, there's not a lot of trust or support, especially on her behalf, because she's the sole breadwinner. And so she feels as if because she makes the most money and she pays majority of the bills in the household, she's in control. And while she was in the classroom, this is how she was saying, I'm in control. I'm in control. I want him to listen to me and do what I say because I'm in control. And this is how she's talking and explaining her situation to us. And I told her, I said, sis, I said, I know you make majority of the money. You pay majority of the bills. I said, but you knew that when you walked into that situation with this man. I said, now, the way you talking, I was like, if you have to put yourself in his shoes, if you talking down to him, making him feel like crap all the time, but you still want to be in a relationship with this man, you still expect him to be in the relationship with you while you acting like this. What happens when another woman comes around and she's talking to him nice? What happens when somebody else comes around and knows how to make him feel like a man? And he decides that he deserves better than this and leaves you. Because Anybody can, get a job and do better and increase their money. And just because you make more money than the person doesn't give you the right to be a bitch. The same way, it doesn't give a man who makes more money than a woman the right to be an asshole to that woman. See, I know a lot of people look at that situation like, well, he ain't making as much money in her, and she paying all the bills. He ain't nothing. He ain't nobody to respect. Everybody deserves to be talked to and treated with respect. That's the thing. CK, what are your thoughts? CK? Uh-oh, hold on. I think my co-host disappeared. CK, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Nah, he gone. All right. Well, I guess I'm rolling this solo, guys. All right. So, yeah, just because the person makes more money than you does not give you the right to be a bitch towards that person. And if you're a man, it doesn't give you a right to be an asshole towards that woman at all whatsoever. Whatsoever. Respect goes both ways, and respect does not have a dollar sign on it. There's no dollar sign on respect. I know a lot of times women will say, because I was on a live stream the other day. I believe I was talking to Jessica X, and I was asking her what she would take from a man that, made a lot of money, like 6 figures or so. And she said, yes, she would allow a man like that to cheat on her. Now, to me, cheating is abuse. So you're going to put a dollar sign on your dignity at this point. Exactly. You're going to put a dollar sign on your dignity. That's what you're doing. Now, the lady in my class, she want to know how come it's hard for her to find a man with her attitude. How come she can't pair with somebody that can accept her the way she is? And she was adamant. She was sitting in that class and she was saying, I need somebody to accept me for who I am. This is who I am. I'm a tomboy. I'm a barber.
Am I back on the thing? Yeah, we may have to leave the music off because I'm having problems on my end.
Okay, hold on.
I think it might be the music. Yeah, sorry about that. I know you're mid-sentence. Yeah, I was doing the solo layout, and then I tried to come back when you said my name, and yeah. All right, we'll leave it like that. Yeah, I was having problems. Sorry about that.
No problem.
But we'll go ahead.
No, I forgot my train of thought just that quick.
Okay, I can just kind of pick up what I was going to say. Most relationships, they become a state of conflict with one person trying to dominate the other, and who pays the bills, and people turn on each other versus turning to each other and growing. And we've gotten into a state of parasitical relationship. When you think about it, when someone says 50-50 relationship, the first thing that comes to your mind is the bills. But it's kind of like if 2 people are giving 50%, they're probably going to give 50%, not just to paying bills, but 50% to the relationship in general. And then if one person is paying 100% and the other person is kind of either not working or they're working and they're just kind of using their money for whatever, eventually someone's going to feel resentful. So our relationships don't really have a solid solution, because when we try to cookie cutter it, we get away from connectivity. And that's what just the connectivity and compatibility is what makes a lot of relationships become toxic. No one really has a solution for how do you avoid a toxic relationship. And then when they do come with a solution, you can easily point to times where they've beefed with someone, and instead of being able to talk with the person and settle the beef, it's just they just keep arguing till one person gets tired. And then if they decide to beef, it starts to snowball into an all-out war, because we have problems with mental health, and it's going into our relationships. And now there's people who are saying, I don't want to get married, I don't want a relationship, I don't want children, I just want to be to myself and pump and dump, and whatever happens happens. And that's basically going from relationship to relationship, where now people are trusting humans less and less, to the point where no one wants to commit anything, but everyone's ready for war.
That's true. But here's the thing: how do you put yourself back into the frame of mind where you're healthy and whole, and where you're able to trust somebody and able to be there to for somebody else? Because see, I think what was happening is a lot of people are not learning how to heal properly from a toxic relationship. Because I know I probably didn't. I did all the wrong things. First of all, when I got out of the toxic relationship, I didn't take myself off of the dating market. I didn't give myself, the time that I needed to just kind of, you let it air out, and maybe even seek some counseling. Because I'm telling you, the anger that I felt in my heart, you ever be angry at the person you was in a relationship, to the point where you just feel rage, like you could just do something that'll get you, locked up. I don't want to say
Yeah.
what it is, but just like this morning in the news, this guy got so angry with his girlfriend because he rolled up on her and she was with another guy. And she had just had his baby. He got in his car and he followed her. And when he finally, pinned her down, he ran her over.
She was like seeing another guy.
Yeah, she was seeing another guy, and she had just had his baby.
Yeah, but she was seeing another guy. And like you're saying, she just had his baby, and he did a crime of passion. It's kind of hard to see your significant other, who you trust, who you believe when they told you that they love you, to see them with someone else and just be like, oh, I'm just gonna go on with my life. It's really easy to get into that passionate state to where you want to take revenge on someone. And I don't think it's really an answer to how you avoid that. I don't think expanding options, therapy, I really don't think that the answer is on the back end. I think all the answers are on the front end. And what I mean is, people have to focus on what their weaknesses are. And when they meet people and they're dating, find someone who has strengths that are your weakness. So that way you can have a yin and a yang relationship and be reciprocal. Because, so someone who has like all this money, he makes six figures, he's all, everybody in Black YouTube makes six figures, everybody's rich. So if everybody has all this money and they can solve their problems by just spending money and spending their way out of it, then when they get with someone, they should get with someone who can give them something they can't give themselves. And if someone says, well, there's nothing that I want from a person, but I do want to have sexual relations, then all your relationships and interactions are going to be doomed, because you're wanting something from someone that you can get from anyone. And the person that you're with is never going to be unique. Even if someone is poor, got a bunch of kids, got a bunch of debt, You want someone who makes a bunch of money. You find someone who makes a bunch of money. They can solve all your problems, but you can't do anything for him. You're like, I can cook and clean, but who's cooking is really better than the restaurants that this guy's going
and
to.
you know what? It's funny that you mentioned cooking and cleaning, because I felt as if, and when I was in anger management DV class, the guys in there were sitting up here echoing the same thing that I hear the guys talking about online. They were like, where are the traditional women that cook, clean, take care of the kids, and keep the house? And I was like, what the hell? Am I on a Kevin Samuel set? They were echoing the same thing. And so I'm sitting in there like, what do you mean, where are they? We are at work. We have to work. And where are the traditional men that go to work and pay all of the bills? Because they say, well, we got to be traditional men. We open doors. We got to pay for the dinners, and we got to walk on the outside of the curb, and, all of this stuff. And I'm waiting to hear where they're saying, and we pay bills. I didn't hear nan guy in that room talk about paying bills like traditional men. And so when the girl, the one that I told you earlier, said that she made more money than her guy, and her guy is talking about leaving her because she makes too much money and she's domineering. And the men, all of a sudden, these same guys that all wanted traditional women said, I would love it if my woman made more money than me. See? See how you all play games. And I told them, I told them right there, I said, not too long ago, you all were talking about where are the traditional women that cook, clean, take care of the kids, and all this stuff. But at the same time, you want the traditional woman to go out and work and help you pay bills. How is she going to have time to do all this extra work in the house when she's also working a full-time job? I said, so you all may look at, I can't tell the people's names. You may look at her like she's just angry because she was looking crazy. But now I kind of see where she's coming from. I would be angry too if I'm going to work, I'm working long hours, I'm paying all the bills, and I got a man in this house that wants me to be this traditional woman. I see it from her perspective as well. But she's in a male-dominated field. She's a barber. She's surrounded by men all day. She goes out and she brings home the bacon, and then you expect her to fry it up in the pan and still never let you forget you the man. Who can do that? What woman can do that on a regular and consistent basis and not die an early death? I'm done. What were you going to say, CK?
So the answer to that is his mom. So when a lot of these guys are saying they want a traditional woman and they're describing cooking and cleaning and can work and also still provide, they're really referring to their mom. A lot of these men who want traditional women, they really want someone to replace their mom. And a lot of moms don't really teach the guys how to find a good woman because most of the women became bad women or became bad examples. There are your onesies and twosies that were really good women, really great moms, great wives, this and that. But when it boils down to it, most of the men who want the traditional women, they just want someone to replace their mom. So with that being said, that's the reason why they expect a woman to go work a full job in the environment of a regular job, whatever it is, stressful or not, then come home and cook and clean, take care of kids. And even if she makes more than him, to somewhat acquiesce her income to him and allow him to be in charge. Because when is a man or a male 100% of the time in charge? When he's a child. When a baby comes home from the hospital and a baby's crying, the mom, usually it's the mom, she's catering to every whim of the child, changing him, feeding him, burping him, up night with him, rocking him, taking him to the doctor. She'll go to work while he's at daycare. And then when she comes home from work, she's still cooking and cleaning after him, fixing him meals and helping him with the schoolwork, taking him to football games, basketball games. She has all this energy. And so these guys, when they grow up, they're like, okay, I'm an adult now, but I'm used to a certain type of woman who I'm told or believe, or who I believe is traditional, and it's really his mom. So when these guys are talking about they want a traditional woman, we're not in traditional times, we're not traditional men, but they want their mom in the form of their wife.
Okay, all right. So basically, what you're saying is they want a woman to take care of them the same way that their mom took care of them when they were little boys.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, think about all the talking points. Just humor me with a random Black Manosphere, Kevin Samuels, B1 Network, Manosphere. There's all these different groups and cliques. Just humor me with a random talking point, and I'll show you how it goes back to someone's mama. Anybody in the chat or Faith, it's Cash App, Super Cash App Faith, of course, but Super Chat or Cash App Faith, a comment that you hear a lot of men say about what they wanted in a traditional woman, even if it's a Jessica X or a woman that's talking about traditional women, or it's a good mother, whoever it is, just give me a talking point and I can equate it to someone's mom.
Okay, any manosphere talking point that they want
anyone.
Mm-hmm. Something that these guys have said that they want in a woman, you can equate that back to their mama.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. How about this? I know you can't equate this back to the mama.
Okay.
I need a woman that's fit, feminine, and friendly.
All right. Well, so growing up, you don't really know your mom's fat until kids tell you she's fat, or the dad tells you she's fat. So you're not really thinking about her being overweight. You know what I'm saying? Until somebody tells you she's overweight. So by proxy, she's fit because she's running around doing stuff for you. In your eyes, she's fit. Then as far as feminine, I mean, unless the mom's abusive, we're not talking about abusive moms, but most of the time when a woman is a mom taking care of her baby, she's feminine. Breastfeeding, burping, singing to him, just being, caressing him, rubbing his head. It's all feminine. And then as far as friendly, I mean, she's friendly when he's a baby, when he's a toddler, while he's a teenager. Even if she's abusive, she still is friendly to a certain extent because she believes what she's doing is right. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's still the same thing as far as fit, feminine, and friendly.
Okay. All right. So let me read some of the comments that's come in. We have the Black Audacity. Welcome to the Commendable Faith Show. Excuse me.
Right.
And she says, these are the same men who say the Black mothers have turned their sons into beta males, yet they want women to treat them like their mom. And then she has the
yeah,
whatever face that is.
I mean, when you think about it, okay, the whole alpha and beta, that revolves into like a group. So it'd be like a group of friends, and you got the alpha of the group, and you got everybody else is like a follower. So, the mothers aren't really turning anybody into anything, because in that group, if someone is stronger than you, they're just stronger. You know what I'm saying? Like, someone being stronger than you doesn't make you a weak person. Someone who has leadership qualities doesn't make you less of a man. It's just in the group that you're in, there's someone who is more popular than you, stronger than you, and there's nothing that your mom can really give you that can give you that it factor. You know, look at the Fawns on Happy Days, or
Hey,
look at Grease. What's the guy John Travolta on Grease? You know,
uh, yeah, I forgot his name, but I know who you're talking about.
well, in those characters, they're the alphas in those two situations. Their mother probably gave them manners, but what made them cool was them looking at other men and emulating that, and people just liked it and they just followed them. They liked the way those guys looked and dressed, and they modeled their behavior after James Dean, somebody in the movies. And James Dean got it from someone. So the alpha, whether he can fight, he looks good, he's got swag, style, charisma, he's got a deep voice, his leadership qualities. People are looking at a man, emulating him, and becoming cool by that proxy. The same thing with the pimps, the players, and the max. They always will tell you stories of how they, when growing up, they had older pimps, players, and max that showed them the way. So no one is just born alpha. People mold themselves into it, and others like what they're doing, and they follow that person. And then sooner or later, that person who's deemed the de facto leader is put to the test, and they pass, whether it be a fight, getting a girl, fixing up a car, doing something cool as far as a dance move, you know, break dancing if you're from the East Coast, or you know, going one-on-one with a rap battle. There's something that makes the alpha or the leader the cool guy because of the it factor he has displayed and demonstrated. That's what makes everybody else, you know, corral around them.
Okay.
So it had nothing to do with the mom. The mom is not out there with the gang members, you know, doing whatever. The mom's at home.
Well,
So the mom,
you can't tell a lot of these guys that and let them tell it. You know, it was the black mothers shooting up the hood. And
look,
they done you know, allowed a lot of stuff to go down in the hood. So, you know, everything that happened back when there was that crack era, it was all the black woman's fault, including the moms.
well, you also got to separate the men that do not like women, or do not like black women, or do not like dark skinned women. Sometimes people will say stuff and they really just are trying to attack black women. So we got to separate the fools from those who are wise. And most of the time, if it sounds foolish, it probably is.
It probably is. You're right. All right. So the next comment is coming from, I believe it was Water Sniper. I have to get back up there to his comment.
Oh, you started?
Okay, yeah, he said, as a grown man, just clean and straighten up as you go. Personally, I can't leave clothes and shoes all over the house. I'm tidy.
I'm sure he had to
And
learn to be tidy.
yeah, there's not a lot of men that are, you know, tidy. I haven't met a whole lot of. Most of them
And
are kind of, you know, barbaric.
well, you know, that's the thing. Like, it has to be learned because one person's tidy is different than someone else's. When I was in basic training for the Army, we had to learn what right looked like for based off a standard. So Water Snipers was probably given a standard and he's kept that standard. Maybe he created himself or someone gave it to him. But once you're given a standard of what right looks like, now you can start to be tidy. And most men aren't really given a standard. Think about it. How many people really grow up and have chores? And if they do have chores, how strict are the parents keeping them to the chores? And then if they are doing the chores, when they get older, did they appreciate the chores and understand them, or were they doing it just so they keep from being punished? Because usually if they did them to keep from being punished as they get older, now that the parents are no longer around and they can do whatever they want to do, now they want to be slobs. So it's all about having a standard and sticking to it. And, you know, Water Sniper probably either created a standard or was given a standard, and he just continued that tradition.
All right. Well, the next comment comes from Miss Koja Malik. She says, they don't get reciprocity. Mothers are always giving. A wife gives and receives very different relationships and cannot be approached the same. Hmm? Wait a minute. They don't get reciprocity. Mothers are always giving. A wife gives and receives very different relationships and cannot be approached the same.
Not trying to be a language Nazi. She didn't really include commas, but so if you so not trying to sharpshoot her, but if you put mothers are always giving, comma, a wife gives and receives, comma, or period. Next sentence, very different relationships and cannot be approached the same. So yeah, mothers and wives are different, but these guys, they're wanting to, when they say they want a traditional woman, they're really saying they want someone to replace their mother based off how they describe them. Because whether it's a 50-50 relationship or 100%, if you're a mom, even if you're a stay-at-home mom, there's like always stuff to do. Because when a man's at work and he needs something from home, he's going to have the wife, the stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home wife, bring it to him. She's probably going to be cooking because she wants to bring him a meal. She'll probably be running errands. She'll probably be cooking because she wants to. She'll be tending to the kids that are at school whenever something happens because she wants to. She probably will iron his clothes before he goes to work. She's going. A good woman's going to be keeping herself busy. And most men, when they describe what they want in a wife, it just, no matter how you dice it up, they're really wanting to replace their mother to have someone to continue the tradition of changing the diapers and kissing their boo-boos.
Absolutely. Now, a lot of the guys that were in class with me today, they made a confession. And I want you to tell me what you think about this, because as a man, I need to hear your perspective on this. But they said that a lot of times that they will date a woman and they will do whatever it takes to get with that woman. And as soon as she does something that they deem is outside of what they want, it could be no matter how small it is, they're going to get angry and break up with her.
So they left out some words.
Well, what it is, yeah, I'm probably not quoting it right, because it was in terms of them wanting the traditional woman, and they were saying that they do agree.
I got to cut you off. So what I mean by they left out some words, I'm not saying that you're paraphrasing wrong, Faith. What I'm saying is they're not being honest with you, and here's why. So when men talk like that, here's what they mean. I did everything I could to have sex with her. And after I busted a nut, that angst, ambition, and desire and longing to control her and to conquer her went away. And I busted a nut enough times to where now I no longer want to conquer her, because in my mind she's conquered. And I'm ready to move on to the next conquest. So I don't want to be seen as a bad person, because I don't want this drama to affect my future conquests and hunts. So the first thing that she does wrong, I'm going to use that as a reason to leave her and pump and dump her so I can go on to my next conquest. And if she comes to my future woman that I'm trying to pump and dump, beat, ski, delete, smash, and dash, I'm going to take the little thing that she did, put it in her face to dismiss her, and I'm going to take that little thing and give it to the new girl to explain why this previous girl was pumped and dumped, but you're different. So they left out that stuff.
That's exactly what it did boil down to, because each of them said that when they're in the relationship with the current woman, they're in love, they do everything, they go all out. And then, it seems as if she's going all out too. But then the minute she stops going all out and she gets comfortable in the relationship and they meet somebody else, which I don't know how they'll be meeting someone else, but miraculously they meet someone else who's fulfilling those needs when she's not. Then all of a sudden they're with that other chick and they're talking to that other chick and saying, oh, my girlfriend doesn't do this. She doesn't cook. She doesn't clean, when she was cooking and she was cleaning. But now, you're with the new woman, and now you're in the new stage of relationship with the new woman, and the new woman is doing what the old woman was doing. So now they're going back to the old woman and saying, I found something better. and it's on to the next, and then the cycle would just kind of basically repeats itself.
Exactly. Yeah, those guys left out a lot. Most men leave out a lot of stuff when they're having these general conversations. They leave because men don't want to see themselves. They don't want to. Everybody's the hero of their own story, and a lot of men aren't really honest with themselves or honest with women. They're just kind of out here making themselves to be the good guy, but they're really not. So I guess Koja Malik, she made a comment in the chat. I don't know if you want to highlight it and address it.
Okay, is this it? He has to give birth to his wife, unlike the relationship with his mother-child relationship in which he just receives.
Yeah, and I kind of understand what she's saying, where like, you know, it's a reciprocal relationship with a significant other or a wife, but with a mother, it is not. But here's the thing. I mean, the mother created the child. So what she gets back is love. You know, so she wants the child to be here, hopefully, and she gets back the giggles, the hugs, seeing him walk for the first time. That's what she gets back from the child, is watching him grow and feeling proud that she created someone. So it still is a reciprocal relationship. It's just that it's uneven because the mother created the child, but the husband didn't create the wife. So and in the husband and wife, it should be reciprocal and it should be a team. But what most of these men want when they say they want a traditional woman, they want their mother, but a 2.0, because they want a mother that not only will do everything they want for them and be enslaved, so to speak, like a mother and a child, but they also want benefits such as intercourse, such as being able to lash out at a woman and not have the repercussions of getting beat, to be able to somewhat dominate her, because he's dominated while growing up, and now he gets to have his revenge. So, Koja Malik is right, but there's more to it as far as the extra as to why a lot of these men online and in person are saying they want a traditional woman, even though we're not in traditional times and we're not traditional men. You want to speak on that, Faith?
And also, yeah, I want to bring out something else that I believe Koja Malik is saying. But she says that with his mother-child relationship, he just receives. So basically, this is a person who doesn't give anything. He's not a support to his girlfriend or his wife. So he's in a relationship with his mother, expecting motherly treatment, because he's like a child who only wants to receive rather than give. And he expects to bring that into all of his relationships. Isn't that kind of like Baby Boy? You remember that movie, Baby Boy?
Yeah.
With Jodie?
I do. Yeah, I agree with you and Koja Malik, but yeah, I do.
Yeah. So in that movie, Baby Boy was living at home with his mama, and he felt entitled to be there in that house with his mama. He said, "Mama, why should I move? Why should I move out the house? You never left the house. Why I got to leave?" So he just wanted to keep on receiving. And the same thing with his girlfriend, Yvette. He's over there using Yvette's car. He just gonna take. Yvette said, "How come I can't keep the car sometime? Girl, go on here somewhere." He wasn't trying to hear what Yvette was saying. Remember? Girl, go on somewhere. And anytime Yvette put up a ruckus or a fight, what was his go-to thing?
To give her a head.
Mm-hmm. He basically
sweet talking,
disarmed her with intercourse. And when he got done, he grabbed them keys and he was gone with his buddies in the car all the time. Yvette ain't go nowhere in that car. All Yvette got to do was sit in the passenger side of her own car that she was paying for, and she went to work and home. That was it. Jodie benefited from that car that she paid for every month. She paying for the car every month. Jodie riding that car everywhere. And then when she finally get up the nerve to say, I want my own car keys, Jody. Give me the keys to my car, Jody.
Mm-hmm.
And he nuts up on her and says, who fixed the car? Who do this, that, and the other to the car? Who makes sure the car got oil in it? Who do this? Who do that? Well, if you driving the car every day, Jody, don't you think you ought to put gas in the car?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think you ought to put oil back in the car? Because you driving it every day, Jody. I just go back and forth to work. You in my car every day. So you damn right you're going to fix, put gas and oil because you the one taken away from the car, Jody, not me.
Mm-hmm. And it's still her car.
And it's still my car. Exactly. Exactly. But Jody just want to take. So that's a good observation, Coach Malik. Very good observation.
Yeah.
But you know what? The young lady in my classroom that made the most money and she want a man that she can control. I told her right there in the classroom. I said, "You sound like you need a Jody, honey. She might need a Jody because see, she doesn't want a man that is her equal. She wants a man that's like Jody. Jody don't got no ambition. Jody don't have no problem with you paying the bills all day long. And Jody got the gift of gab. Jody know how to bounce back and forth between making you feel like a woman and pretending to be a man. He will give you that illusion that you're looking for. Jody will be your man baby. Because that's what some of these women are looking for, a man baby. These are the type of women that they make the most of the money, they pay all of the bills, and they want a man that they can control. You got that dynamic going on too. And they would feel extremely intimidated if this man were to elevate himself beyond being her man baby. So you got some black women out here that don't mind stepping into your mama's shoes. But then they'll be in a domestic violence class, hitting their chest, talking about some, I'm in control. How come he want to leave me now? Why can't I never find somebody that's just gonna accept me for who I am? Angry.
Yeah, she probably somewhere in her life she didn't have control. I'm not going to go through the different possibilities, but the whole reason of her wanting to have control is because there was a point where she didn't have any, and now she wants to control every man that she's with. And there are men out there that'll be a perfect fit for her. It's just that it just sounds like she wants to be financially abusive. She wants to be physically abusive if she's in a domestic violence class, and she more than likely lacks authority, doesn't work well with up.
She wants a man that knows how to be assertive.
Translation, she wants a man that's going to put his hands on her. She wants to, I mean, let's just go ahead and keep it real. Let's just keep it real. Because I remember my sister was telling me this, and I didn't understand it till like later on in life. So women, and I'm going to generalize, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Most women want to believe that they're with a man who could put them in their place physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, put them in their place, whatever their place is, at the drop of a hat. If he can't do that, then they're going to view him as less than a man. So she probably is like, yeah, I'm abusive, but I want to be with somebody who can overpower me and force me to submit. There's a lot of people out there like that, where it's toxic. And that's why, you know, one of the things as far as the title is living with the enemy, living with someone that this is your adversary. This is not your partner. You don't share intimate information with them. You don't go to them crying because something happened. You don't share emotion. You don't share your successes. You don't share your failures. This is someone that, if they look at you crazy, you get in their face. And whoever blinks loses. Whoever flinches loses. Whoever cannot whoever cannot out loud talk the other person loses. And a lot of people need that. They need to be dominated, or they're going to dominate the other person, because our relationships have turned into a power struggle. That's why everybody talks about alpha male. We want the alpha male. What they really are saying is they want a man who, if he wanted to slap him around, he will do it, and he has no problem with it. I'm not going to name any names, but there are YouTube relationships where they get on panels together, one-on-one, and they're telling each other to shut up. They're cussing each other out. They're yelling. They're damn near throwing venom through the internet, trying to out loud talk someone, trying to, who can shame the other person with secrets and information, who can roast the other person. It's power struggle. And this power struggle is the reason why we turn on each other at the first sign of trouble, as opposed to turning to each other and tackling problems as a team. People can't talk anymore. There's no small talk anymore, no pleasantries. It's, are you in my gang or are you not in my gang? Are you with us or are you against us? And it's just constant fighting and jumping on people. I want a man who's going to put me in my place. I don't want him to put his fist through my face, but I want to know that he can. I want him to make all this money so that I can crap on my girlfriends and brag to them about my wedding ring, my house, my vehicle, my clothes. I want to be able to dominate someone because I feel small inside.
Yes.
That's what it is.
There are actually women that do this. It's not just a man thing. Because I was sitting in the classroom with a whole woman that act like this. And I see her personality type, like you said, here on YouTube. There are certain female personality types that are just like that, very aggressive, very angry. And, it comes off as strength, right? To a person on the outside looking in. Oh, she's a strong woman. No, she's a bully. She's a bully. And see, those personality types, they never hold on to anyone very long. There's not too many men that will deal with that personality type on a regular and consistent basis. No man wants to feel emasculated like that, where you yelling and screaming at them, always in their face, challenging them physically. You're challenging a man physically. And the first time he put hands on you and tear your ass up, then you gonna want to call the police on him. Then you gonna yell foul after you done started something with this guy. I know a lot of females like this, and I was sitting there looking her in the eye. And see, she had told me in the rest of the class that this was the first time that she had to be accountable for starting the fight. Because all the other times she had started the fight, guess who went to jail?
The man.
He went to jail.
Mm-hmm.
But it just so happened this time he was smart. She said this time he let her beat him up. And he had all the marks and he had all the bruises. And when she called the police, like she always do, she was surprised when they were putting her behind in handcuffs. And see, that would have been his second time being picked up for DV. So, anybody that knows how the law works, if you are on probation for the first one, you can't get the second one. So you know what? Before you say that he was not smart, I think that was a smart move.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Yeah, he got the mental victory. She went to jail. They're probably still together. And they're probably going to do the same thing next time, but now she's going to be smarter because she's had time to go to this domestic violence class, to share her story with other people who can help her win the fight next time. And the next time they get into it, now she probably will like hire someone to jump on him so that she's the innocent bystander, because it becomes a tit for tat in the power struggle.
That's
It's
true.
like, oh, you won, I got you. I'm gonna go pay a guy, my ex-boyfriend, who wants to sleep with me, and I'm going to sleep with him, and I'm gonna tell him that you've been a barbarian to me so that he can jump on you. So I mean, yeah, he did win in that situation, but for him to know to do that versus walking away or to calm her down, just being able to de-escalate the situation and work on their problems, that would have been winning. But now they're at the point where they're living with the enemy. But she
But
probably was the enemy to begin with.
what she said today, it sounds like he's on his way out.
Out of the relationship.
Yeah, because that's what she was angry about in class today. Because she said that
Well,
he had left and he had taken all his things and he had come back to get more things and they had gotten into an argument.
yeah. So if he's leaving and he's like out the picture and he didn't have to go to jail or anything, that's good for him. But it sucks that there's so many people who they're going into a relationship with the mindset, okay, let me look for someone that I can roll around on the ground with because this is what love feels like to me. It's not love if he doesn't hit me. It's not love if she's not toxic. I know she loves me if she's putting up with my BS and my cheating. It's not love if he doesn't come home from a hard day of work and I can push his buttons, get him so upset, and he goes back and forth yelling at me, because if he doesn't want to argue with me, I think he's cheating. There's no way you can love someone, and there's no way a love can exist in a situation like that. And unfortunately, I had to be pessimistic because that's what we have as people. That is the extent of a lot of y'all's relationships. You all are going to be losers. You spent your whole life thinking you're doing the right thing and you're a loser. You have no accomplishments. You don't have a retirement plan. Kids don't like you. Probably have a criminal record. Probably have a bunch of debt. You're losers. You can't go back in time. What you have at 30, 40, 50, 60, this is your life. And with this being your life, you have to sit down and think, do I want to change, or do I want to just continue to do the same thing I've been doing as a loser? And a lot of you all are going to say, yeah, I want to be a loser. I want to be toxic and dysfunctional, but I don't want to admit to it. That's why I promote individualism, because when it boils down to it, not everyone can be saved because not everyone wants to be saved. And they're going to be living with the enemy after losing trust and constant fighting in an addictive relationship. And also, they're going to be focusing on escapism, like drinking, doing drugs, coming on YouTube, arguing with people on panels. And they're going to be getting into learned helplessness, accepted powerlessness, because they're going to deflect to slavery or Jim Crow, or these black women ain't nothing. These black men, they're so terrible. Let me divest. That is the answer, to divest. All of this learned helplessness, accepted powerlessness is not going to do anything except for have you run the race on a treadmill.
Divestors. Half of the men in my class are non-black men. There was only one black man in my class. Okay, and he graduated and finished up with his courses. So let that sink in. But we're an hour into this thing. I want to thank you so much, Commendable K, for coming on here with me and supporting me and doing this impromptu, because this was impromptu. I had another live stream that I was supposed to do earlier, but I had some technical difficulties. I'm learning how to do a OBS or OBS-like program called XSplit. And so I was having some technical difficulties trying to do the setup. I have a whole new setup, similar to the one that CK uses on his platform. So I was going to try that over here. But I really, really thank you for coming in short notice to do this live stream with me. And so what I want to do is I want to go ahead and start wrapping this up.
Okay.
So did you have any last thoughts on anything that we talked about in this program or any of the comments that you read down there in the comments section?
So as far as a final thought, I'll say instead of focusing on bullet points and cookie cutter as far as a significant other for a relationship or spouse, focus on what you need in someone else. And if you cannot come up with anything that you can get from someone else as far as reciprocation, it may be best to be alone and be happily single. If you do find someone who is like your better half, they are able to help you achieve your goals, whatever they are. They help you be happier and you're already happy and you're able to help them achieve their goals. You can come together and have a reciprocal relationship and have a successful relationship. And, don't be afraid to throw in the towel if things aren't going the way that you want them to go. Also, don't be afraid to discuss things and solve problems, because no subject should be off limits, because usually if it's off limits, it's going to go from something small to something large, or it'll be death by 1,000 paper cuts, and then you're in a toxic relationship. So see the warning signs, don't live with the enemy, and that's all I got to say.
All right, that was CK coming in with the knowledge as always, and he has been extremely informative on this broadcast. I'm telling you guys, CK is my go-to for anything relationship-wise. If I have a question about what men think or man thoughts, I always run to CK, because not only is he going to give me the male perspective, but he's going to tell me in such a way that I'm going to learn the inside of how men think, but from a positive point of view. So I just always want to, acknowledge him and thank him. He used to be a sexual assault investigator when he was in the, I believe he was the Army. I'm not quite sure. Don't
in the Army.
Oh, the Army. He was a sexual assault investigator when he was in the Army. So, he has a great command of many subject matters, especially matters of domestic violence and, different things of that towards women and also, men as well. So I commend you, Commendable K. I appreciate you. And feel free, guys, make sure if you are not subscribed to Commendable K's channel, please subscribe. Hit Commendable K's Cash App. He certainly does deserve it. And I will leave you with my final thoughts on the situation, because like I said, my class is a domestic violence class. Okay. And the different people that come into the class, there's how can I say, a lot of times we think of people that commit domestic violence and people who get arrested for domestic violence. We think that all the time they're the bad guys, and a lot of times they are. There's some people in that class who are the bad guys. Make no mistake. Like I said, that woman that's in the class with me, she's definitely a bad guy. And then there's a guy that's in the class, and he basically got in there because he was defending himself against a woman putting hands on him. And unfortunately, because she was the first one to call the police, and this is a low tolerance state for domestic violence, he went to jail. He had never had any priors on his record, never had anything in his past background that says that, you know, he's done anything like that. So some people are in this situation and they're innocent. So, you know, everything isn't what it seems all the time. But with that said, you know, you have to learn how to trust before you can get back into a relationship. Trust is the most important thing. And if you haven't learned to love again by trusting, then you don't need to be in a relationship with anyone. There's a lot of people out here who are unhealed and they're in these relationships. I would strongly suggest that you go and seek counseling, because if you're in these relationships and you have a poor view of the opposite sex, well, that's going to affect how that relationship transpires. It may transpire into something positive, but if you're going in with negative thoughts and negative feelings, it can't transpire into anything positive. It's always going to go downhill. So make sure you heal from within first before you take a leap. Also, there's quite a few people that think that it's okay to talk down to a person, to demean a person because you feel entitled to something. Nobody owes you anything. Every person deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. Money is not a substitute for treating a person with dignity and respect. And just because you have money and just because you pay some bills does not mean that you have the right or ownership over another human being. So those are my last and my final thoughts. Please let me know what you think down there in the bottom. And with that, I'm going to have to say peace. I'm out. See ya.